Hey guys, this is Versus Z with a video review of Deluxe Class Battle Blades Bumblebee, part of Hasbro's Transformers Hunt for the Decepticons toy line. This figure was released this summer of 2010 and retails between $10 to $13 US depending on where you pick him up. Now I'm pretty sure you guys already know who Bumblebee is, so instead of introducing the character, I'm going to introduce this particular version of Bumblebee. Deluxe Class Battle Blades Bumblebee is from the new Hunt for the Decepticons toy line. Now don't get this figure wrong, this is not another recoloring or retooling of an existing Bumblebee mold. This is a whole new mold, probably with slight changes to the legs. Other than the legs, everything is new. So you do get new accessories which are integrated. You don't get any integrated accessories, which is actually real nice. And this is probably by far one of the best considered Deluxe Class Bumblebee figures to date. And if you haven't already noticed the past few seconds ago, the alt mode is actually very nice looking. And I will compare it again one more time to the original Revenge of the Fallen version of Deluxe Class Bumblebee. As you can see, they look quite similar, except if you take a closer look at the front profile of both the alt modes, yeah, they do have the sports stripes and everything, and they do have the front lip here. I mean, these front lips were actually added on by me, so they weren't production from Hasbro, and it does look slightly different because I added on some touches. But overall, if you can see the front profile of this Camaro versus this one just looks really sleek. It still looks like a Camaro, still looks fast. But the true portions of a Camaro is that it's got this boxy yet very aggressive with some subtle curves on it. And this looks very, very nice. It really looks accurate to an actual Camaro. And if you don't already know, it actually looks very reminiscent to the Human Alliance Bumblebee's alt mode. So once again, with the borrowed, stolen, or what have you characteristics of different figures. Now this one, of course, for the rest of the part, the alt mode looks very, very similar. And this could just be because of age, but correct me if I'm wrong, this shade of yellow seems to be a little bit darker than this shade of yellow. So not only that, the color accuracy is a lot better too. Alright, so now to transform this figure, and it's actually quite involved, so let's get this started. So pop the doors open. You want to take the entire front panel, or the top panel of the car. This might take a little bit of time because of how many tabs that these pieces are locked into, which is actually good because it makes for a secure, very secure alt mode. So just take that, tab it up, and you see it pretty much loosened everything. So that's real nice how that works. Take all that, lift it up forward. Next thing you want to do is you work with the legs. Now this is where it gets familiar, sort of. You take these panels here and you untab them from the rear panels. Pardon the sloppy transformation, but it is really involved. You take that and then you pretty much untab them from the bottom, fold them out like you normally would with any other Bumblebee figure, and there's actually a locking hinge right here which clicks them down about 2 or 3 times. Take those and bring them down like you would with any other Bumblebee figure with the same automorph feature here, so I didn't really need to show that. Do the same thing here. So yeah, it's actually about two clicks down. So there you go. That's the legs. You can get them situated as any way you want. Now, one thing before I forget, these heel spurs, one's black, one's gray. It's because the black one you can actually flip out, and that does help in terms of balance later on. And not that this figure has any balance issues anyway, but it does help there. Now next thing you want to do, and I don't know if you noticed, but you do see Bumblebee's head right under there. Next thing you want to do, take the arms, flip them up, take these wheel panels, flip them down, and I don't know if that's an automorph gimmick there, but it does collapse into the door panels automatically. Let's pan up a little bit, or a little bit more. Okay, take that, the arms, flip them out, and they're on a hinge there, which you can use later on for articulation if you like. Take them, and we'll associate the arms in a second. Take this panel, which is right above Bumblebee's head, take that panel and flip it up, and then you want to take the entire front panel here, and the spacing is just clear enough for this piece here with the Autobot symbol to flip over his head. Now I do find that it's a little bit tougher to do that when you want to switch Bumblebee into alt mode. Usually I just remove the head and then bring the entire assembly back where it should be. Now, before I close this, there are 2 pegs here on the waist, right above the waist, and 2 holes on that piece, so they do sit in there very tightly and securely, so it keeps the entire top assembly on secure. Associate the arms, rotate them. Rotate these right side up, and they do click in place. Flip the hands out. Do the same here on the other side. Flip the hands out. Rotate the forearm pieces, and then the chest panels, which you can leave it that way if you like, but that looks completely plain. What I like about the Battle Blade version is that you can they're on a hinge system in there, double hinge right there. Bring them out like so, and then these panels here, they're separate, so you can get them to angle. They do tend to get kind of annoying for me because I like to keep things in place, and they don't. At least for this one, it doesn't stay in place all the time. But just that is included is a really nice feature. And associate the head. This back panel here, I should go over, because the instructions tell you that this should be down, so that I guess it covers up some kibble here and there. See, it just doesn't like to stay in place, and it looks okay from the front, but I like to keep that slim but athletic profile. And you know what? This actually kind of looks like a G1 Bumblebee from the back, at least. Anyway, keep the panel up. I like to keep things as compact as possible. Now, I'm not sure if this is actually part of the instructions, but there's a little gap right there, and this tab on the front part of the hood is just thick enough or wide enough to fit in there. So you want to take this, sit it in there, bring the backpack up, and then from the back profile you have a slimmer looking Bumblebee, and it looks especially better from the front. So there's less kibble hanging around the back and such. Now also the instructions tell you to flip out the armor like that. We all know that's wrong, so just keep it down the way it was during transformation. So there you have it. Deluxe Class Battle Blades Bumblebee in robot mode. Alright, so if you guys took a little break from that super long transformation session, let's look at the details. Now, one of the best things I love about this figure, if I haven't already mentioned, is the head sculpt. Not only that, but you get this very nice light piping, and I wasn't really expecting this to show during the review, but there's a light piping. That's just how great it is. I have the sun back at that way, but it's actually reflecting off my backdrop and shining against, or shining into the light piping of Deluxe Class Battle Blades Bumblebee. And that's really, really nice. I really like it. Sometimes it looks cool, sometimes it looks creepy, depending on the angle and how you pose them, but overall it's a really nice effect. Not only that, but one of the best things about the figure is just his proportions of his body. Yeah, he does look very, very skinny from different angles, but I think with the robot kibble from the yellow pieces, it does add a little bit of beefiness to him. And these just huge these huge forearm pieces here, I think it just really adds on to the missing bulkiness that his arms lack. And then the profile of the back and the front, especially the profile of the front through these pieces on the back, do add on a little bit of beefiness to him. And I really like the overall effect of the overall proportion of his body, because he does get more of this heroic stance. And you'll get what I mean when I get a full body shot of him. But anyway, just the rotation of the body, you do get a lot of mechanical detail within the torso, the hips especially, and these gears for the automorph gimmick. The clear blue plastic always works well with this Bumblebee, and this here is a very highly appreciated part for me, because I would just like with the Leader Class Optimus Prime, where I adjust his I guess the windshield things to make it look like collarbones or collar pieces. I like that I'm able to do this to make his chest look a little bit more detailed. So that's really nice as well. So nice paint apps there. I really wish it had the appropriate paint app for the license plate. That's missing there, and that's probably one of the only gripes I have about the details of the figure. But otherwise, everything is really great. Paint apps, proportions, everything's great. Battle Blade's Bumblebee doesn't really come with accessories, but rather gimmicks or integrated accessories. One of the main accessories that he has, and this is why it's called Battle Blade's Bumblebee, is he has these clear blue pieces of plastic which, when you hit this button, flip out the Battle Blade. Now, there have been some complaints about the Battle Blade looking more like an axe because when you flip this separate piece out, you see what I mean? But for me, I like to just keep it this way, unextended, so that it at least looks like Optimus Prime's Battle Blades. So, and also it looks nice that way because it kind of keeps a continuity with an Autobot weapon, so that it looks reminiscent to Optimus Prime. It must be an Autobot Battle Blade. So this is why I keep it this way. And yeah, you do see a hinge there. It does look a little bit slightly awkward at some angles, but at least it looks less like an axe and more like a blade. So that's one of the features. Another integrated accessory here is, of course, his blaster. And now the way you do this, and I'm really, really impressed with this gimmick here, you basically flip these pieces open, flip this piece out, flip his hands inward as if they were hidden in alt mode, and sometimes I like to display it like so that it's more streamlined and less bulky looking. But the proper way to do it is just put these pieces back on there, and then you have his blaster, which doesn't look all bad at all. And you have the detail here. You have the black to accent the yellow and gray and silver. It just looks really nice. And yeah, there's no missile launching gimmick, but you know what? I don't care. I actually prefer it to be this way. This is a huge thumbs up to Hasbro here. And the one final gimmick that this figure has, and it's probably one of the cooler things, and this is actually taken from the Human Alliance figure, is the battle mask. And you just bring it down like so, just like so, and it looks really, really nice. You just flip it back up, and you can just take that down just by using your nail. It doesn't even take a lot of force to do that, but it's a really, really nice gimmick. I barely use it. I prefer this head, but it's nice that they include that. Not only is Battle Blade's Bumblebee a better looking figure, accessories or integrated accessories, and detail wise, he's also got great amount of articulation. You have a single ball joint for the head, but it's a very effectively placed ball joint because you can get a full range of movement at the head. These panels here are a little bit movable, so you can change them to your liking. You also have ball jointed shoulders, rotation at the elbow, a hinged elbow that only bends about 90 degrees, and it's cool because you actually have articulated hands due to transformation, and you have an articulated thumb. Now this isn't exactly a point of articulation, but you can use it to your advantage, and this is only really due to transformation, but you can bring out these hinges so that Bumblebee can have a higher positioning of his arms for different positions of poses. And you can have it that way. Yeah, his arms aren't really flushed down, but he does get a more heroic stance. And I do like taking advantage of that hinge there. Although it isn't a piece of articulation, it's there, might as well use it. Wonderfully, wonderfully, wonderfully added waist articulation. Thank you, Hasbro. And it's not a ball joint, so it's stable. So that's really, really good. You do have ball jointed legs for full range of movement in and out of the body, forward and backwards. You also have a thigh rotation, which is somewhat limited due to this piece here, and it does feel ratcheted for some odd reason. I'm not sure if it's ratcheted, but then again, you have the knee bend, which isn't really all that due to the kibble. You didn't see it, but it really isn't all that due to the kibble of his legs. But at least you do get a bend there, and the feet, because of transformation, are articulated. So overall, you get a very articulated figure. Posing Bumblebee in such a simple yet heroic stance never looks so good. And as you can see, even though he does have skinny arms and skinny legs, you now see what I mean by the robot kibble helping and assisting to make it look like he's not skinny at all. Where's that heroic Autobot music from the movie when you need it? Wide-legged stances, even though he doesn't have articulated ankles? No problem. Oh man, and you see that light piping? It definitely adds to this figure. But anyway, wonderfully, wonderfully well done. Love the levels of articulation, even though you don't get those ankle articulations that Bumblebee could use for stability. I think even though with the you do have 3 points of balance on the feet. You have 2 protrusions from the heels, and you also have these 2 toes. which actually are articulated as well. And not to mention, it's not a very heavy feeling figure for some reason, even though it has so many pieces to it. So the balance on this is just absolutely great. So for my final thoughts on this figure, if you're looking for a very well done Bumblebee figure, and if you're not concerned about scale or anything, or if you're not concerned about a figure being too big or too small, to tell you the truth, this figure actually is a bit taller than any other deluxe class Bumblebee figures, and that could be because of the newly designed body or transformation in the legs. But this is a much taller figure, and once I put him next to Leader Class Optimus Prime, he actually has a much better looking stance. And if you do compare the details on Leader Class Optimus Prime along with the details of this figure, you can kind of see that they do share design resemblances, even though they're both toys, and even though they're different from each other. Leader Class Optimus Prime being, well, a Leader Class, but Bumblebee here just being a deluxe class and having all this detail on him is just absolutely amazing. And his price range is about $10 to $13, once again depending on where you get him. So I can definitely recommend this figure to fans of Bumblebee, fans of the movie series of figures, or just a casual Transformer fan or a casual buyer of any figures. It's a really well done figure, and once again the best Bumblebee figure to date, in my opinion at least. Comparing it to the Human Alliance Bumblebee, I don't really have it. And now that I have this figure, I have no intentions of getting a Human Alliance Bumblebee figure. The only Human Alliance figure that I really want to get is Jazz, but I'm saving that for another topic. So once again, I can definitely recommend this figure. It's got an overall stance great looking stance, great detail, absolutely wonderful articulation, and the sculpting on it is just absolutely amazing. Just look at that, very heroic looking. And if you like light piping, then this figure is definitely for you. As you can see, the light piping just works really well. Even though the sunlight isn't directly pointed at it, it's just really awesome looking. But anyway, once again, I recommend this figure to anyone. I really just want that heroic Autobot music to just play right now. That's how ecstatic I am about this figure. But anyway, I highly recommend it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope this review helped any of those who are curious or found this video helpful in some way. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys next time.